It's funny, coming home now, it's quiet. Like, truly quiet. My apartment feels like my apartment again. Every night, I walk through the door, and everything is exactly where I left it. No sticky footprints, no mysterious juice boxes, no feeling like I need to brace myself for what I'm going to find. It's a peace I honestly thought I'd never get back. But it took a war to win it, a war with my own sister, a war that ended with me getting a protection order and cutting my family out of my life. And looking back, it was the only way. My name's Caleb, I'm 25. And my sister, Marissa, she's 4 years older. You wouldn't know it from how we grew up. She always got the later curfew, the bigger allowance, the benefit of the doubt. Mom used to say Marissa had a big personality and I was the easy one. I thought that was a compliment. Took me way too long to realize easy just meant I didn't complain when I got the short end of the stick. When I was 14, Dad got diagnosed with bone cancer. He fought for 3 years, but those years, they hollowed us out. Mom just shut down after his first round of chemo didn't work. She was physically there, but mentally, she'd already started grieving. So I picked up the slack. Learned to pay bills, keep food in the fridge. Dad died a month after I turned 17. By then, being the responsible one wasn't a choice anymore. It was just who I was. Marissa? She never had to learn any of that. Fast forward 8 years. I worked my way through college, landed a job at a game studio in Topeka doing animation and code. Steady pay, I actually loved what I did. Saved up enough to get my own place about a year and a half ago. Nice complex, front desk, security. Felt like I was finally building something for myself. And I had Chloe, my girlfriend. 2 years happily together. She respects me, laughs at my jokes, and makes me feel like her whole world. Things were good. Stable. Then Marissa's marriage imploded. And suddenly, my apartment became the backup plan. I gave her a key for emergencies, you see, back when I first moved in. It was one of those newer places with a key fob and everything. I even added her to my approved visitor list so she could get buzzed up easily. She was going through a divorce, needed someone to lean on. The key was for watering plants if I traveled, or if she needed a day to herself. Emergencies only. But what emergency meant to Marissa was totally different. It meant she was bored, or her AC was broken, or she just felt like treating my place like her personal spa retreat while I was at the office designing video games for 8 hours a day. Honestly, the first few times, I let it slide. She was having a hard year. The kids were struggling with the custody arrangement. I told myself it was temporary. 18 months later, it had only gotten worse. The first time it really hit me, I genuinely thought I was losing my mind. I left that morning with everything in its place. Came back to find juice boxes everywhere, toys scattered in the living room. Marissa admitted it casually when I called her. Laughed, like it was charming. The kids were going stir-crazy, and your AC unit is busted. I figured you wouldn't mind since you were at work anyway. I minded. I told her I minded. She promised it wouldn't happen again. But then there were the towels. My food missing from the fridge. Sticky handprints on my sliding glass door. And someone had used my laptop, leaving it open to kids' YouTube videos. My electric bill jumped $40 last month because, apparently, Marissa decided my place made a great after-school hangout spot. I texted her a photo of the towels with one word, "Really?" Her response? "Sorry, emergency. Lily had a meltdown at school, and I needed somewhere quiet to calm her down. You know how she gets." Lily was 7. She got that way because Marissa spoiled her rotten. But pointing this out just made me the villain, so I kept quiet. Then I noticed my gaming setup. My custom mechanical keyboard, the one I'd saved for months to buy, was sitting crooked on the desk. There were crumbs between the keys. Actual food crumbs. I pulled the keycaps off one by one. Goldfish crackers. Orange dust. Everywhere. I sat there on my floor for a good 5 minutes, surrounded by keycaps, wondering how my life had gotten to this point. I had a decent job, my own apartment in a decent neighborhood, and I couldn't even leave for 8 hours without my sister treating my place like a daycare with free amenities. The thing is, I loved those kids. Lily was wicked smart when she wasn't being a brat. Sam was genuinely funny. Even Max was a good kid in general. But watching Marissa use them as tools to get what she wanted, it made it hard to enjoy being their uncle. I didn't text Marissa that night. I called Chloe instead. She picked up on the second ring. "What happened?" she asked. "Remember how I told you Marissa was using my apartment?" I said. "Using is generous. Colonizing is more accurate. She let her kids eat goldfish crackers over my keyboard. The mechanical one." Chloe was quiet for a second. "The one you literally wouldn't let me eat pizza near for the first 3 months we dated?" "That's the one. I'm coming over." She showed up 20 minutes later with a bottle of compressed air, a bag of sour gummy worms, and more anger on my behalf than I had myself. Chloe is 5'3" of concentrated, no-nonsense energy. She'll tell you exactly what she thinks and then help you fix the problem, whether you asked or not. She'd watched this whole Marissa situation unfold from the beginning. Every time she pushed me to do something about it, I'd told her it would stop soon. That Marissa was just going through a rough patch, that I'd handle it. 2 years of that. She'd been way more patient than I deserved. We spent an hour cleaning my keyboard together while she cataloged everything else that was wrong. Every few minutes, she'd find something new. A sippy cup behind my couch, a hair tie on the bathroom counter, kid shoe marks on my wall. By the end, she'd counted 19 items that had been touched, moved, or consumed. "Caleb," she snapped, and I could hear her accent slipping. Not a good sign, by the way. "Are you kidding me? This is an occupation. You need to get that key back." "I know. But, you know how Mom will have a meltdown. I'll never hear the end of it." Chloe looked at me with that expression she got when I was being an idiot. "Caleb, you're 25 years old. You design video games for a living. You pay your own rent. Why does your mom get a vote?" I didn't have an answer. Because there wasn't one. The next violation came on a Thursday. I was working from home that week, crunching to meet a deadline on a mobile game. Headphones on, deep in animation code, when I heard the lock turn. Then I heard children's voices. I pulled off my headphones and walked into my living room to find Marissa's 3 kids sprawled across my floor with markers and printer paper. My printer paper. Marissa stood in my kitchen making sandwiches. "What are you doing here?" I asked. She turned around, startled. "Oh, I thought you'd be at the office today." "The kids needed lunch," she said, gesturing at the bread and peanut butter she'd pulled from my pantry. "My kitchen sink is backed up. It's disgusting. We'll be out of your hair in 20 minutes. Sam, the youngest, looked up from his drawing. He had a red marker in his hand, and there was a streak of red on my carpet. I'd had enough. I walked over and took the marker out of his hand. Not gently either. Put it up on the counter where he couldn't reach. "Hey!" Marissa said. "Don't grab things from him like that." He drew on my carpet. "It's just marker. It'll come out." I crouched down. The stain was deep in the fibers. I tried rubbing it with my thumb. Nothing. "That's a permanent marker, Marissa." "So? You rent. It's not like you own the place." Max was watching from the couch. The paper around him was covered in elaborate drawings. Probably 50 sheets worth. I'd need to buy a new ream now. How much of my paper did you guys use? Max looked guilty. Mom said it was okay. Of course, she did. I stared at Marissa, trying to figure out if she genuinely didn't understand how rental deposits worked or if she just didn't care. Probably both. I need you to leave, I said. We haven't finished eating yet. I don't care. Get your kids and get out. Lily started to cry. The performative kind where she looked at her mom to make sure someone was watching. Now look what you did, Marissa said. You're scaring her. I'm scaring her? You broke into my apartment. I have a key. That's not breaking in. Using a key I gave you for emergencies to let yourself in whenever you want is absolutely breaking in. The key is supposed to mean I trust you, not that you live here. She gathered the kids with maximum dramatic sighing, making sure I knew how unreasonable I was being. At the door, she turned around. You know, Mom was right about you. You've always been selfish. Get out, Marissa. She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the pictures on my wall. I stood there, looking at the red marker stain, the scattered printer paper, the sandwich fixings still spread across my counter. My train of thought was gone. The code I'd been working on would need at least an hour to get back into, and I had a deadline tomorrow. Part of me wanted to call her back, apologize, smooth things over. That was the muscle memory talking. 25 years of keeping the peace. But another part of me, a part that had been getting louder lately, was just tired. I called my best friend, Leo. He answered with his usual charm. What's up, Buttercup? I need a locksmith. Today. Finally growing a spine about the sister situation, he asked. She just let her kid draw on my carpet with a permanent marker and then told me it didn't matter because I rent. Leo was quiet for a second. I'll be there in an hour. I know a guy who owes me a favor. He showed up in 45 minutes with a guy named Ben. Ben changed both my deadbolt and my door handle lock in under an hour, tested everything twice, and charged me half what I expected. When he left, Leo handed me the new keys. 2 copies, he said. One for you, one for Chloe. And if you give one to your sister, I'm going to come back here and change them again myself. I'm not giving her a key. Good. He looked at the marker stain on my carpet. You got any club soda? We spent the next 2 hours trying to get that stain out. It faded to pink. The explosion came on Monday evening. I was in the middle of a raid with my online gaming group when my phone started blowing up. Marissa's name flashing across the screen again and again. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again. And again. On the 4th attempt, I paused the game. Dude, my buddy David's voice came through the headset. We're in the middle of a boss fight. Family emergency. Cover for me. I answered the phone. Did you change your locks? No greeting, just accusation. Yes, I said. Are you kidding me right now? You wouldn't stop using my apartment without permission. It's an emergency key, Caleb. What if something happens and I need to reach you? Then you call me like a normal person. This is unbelievable. I can't believe you'd be this selfish. Selfish. Growing up, that was the worst thing you could be in our family. Selfish meant you weren't thinking of others. Weren't sacrificing enough. Weren't living up to the standard of constant availability that our mother demanded from everyone but herself. It's my apartment, I said. I'm allowed to control who has access to it. I'm your sister. I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids and no help. And you're treating me like some kind of criminal. Then stop acting like one. She hung up on me. I went back to my game, but my head wasn't in it. We wiped on the boss twice before I called it a night. Chloe came over around 9. She brought tacos from our favorite place and a six-pack. She took one look at my face and knew. She called and called and called? What did she say? The usual. I'm selfish. She's a struggling single mom. How dare I treat family this way? She handed me a taco. Did you tell her that struggling single moms don't usually have time to lounge at their brother's apartment 3 times a week eating his food? I should have. We ate in comfortable silence for a while. Then my phone rang again. This time it was my mother. You don't have to answer that, Chloe said. If I don't, she'll just call tomorrow and the day after. And show up here if she has to. I answered. Caleb Andrew Robinson. Her voice had that particular edge that meant I was already guilty of something. What is going on with you and your sister? Did she tell you she's been letting herself into my apartment multiple times a week? She mentioned you changed your locks. That seems extreme. Mom, she was coming in whenever she wanted, using my things, running up my bills, bringing all 3 kids while I was trying to work. I asked her to stop, and she wouldn't. She's under a lot of stress right now. Being a single mother is incredibly hard. You have no idea what she's going through. That doesn't mean she gets to invade my space whenever it's convenient. My mother made that little hum that meant I was being difficult. Family is supposed to help each other, she continued. When you have children of your own someday, you'll understand how overwhelming it can be. Marissa just needs a little grace right now. I've been giving her grace for 18 months. She used it all up. Don't be cold about this, Caleb. She's your only sister, and she's been through so much since the divorce. The divorce that happened because she cheated on her husband, I thought. But I didn't say that out loud. Mom had conveniently forgotten that part. I need to go, Mom. I have work in the morning. We're not done discussing this. Yeah, I said. We are. I hung up before she could respond. Chloe was watching me with something like pride on her face. Look at you, setting boundaries and everything. I feel like garbage. That's normal. You've been trained your whole life to put their needs first. Breaking that pattern is going to feel wrong for a while, even when you're doing the right thing. How do you know so much about this? She shrugged. My family's not great either. I just figured it out earlier than you did. 3 days passed without contact from Marissa. On Thursday evening, someone knocked on my door. The kind of knocking that rattled the frame. I looked through the peephole. Marissa stood there with all 3 kids clustered behind her like ducklings. She was holding a casserole dish. I didn't open the door. She knocked again. Caleb, I know you're in there. Your car is in the lot. Silence from my end. I came to apologize. The kids wanted to see their uncle. I texted her instead of opening the door. Whatever you need to say, you can text it. 3 dots appeared. Then, this is ridiculous. Open the door. No, I'm trying to make things right here. You're trying to guilt-trip me into letting you back in. The answer is no, she knocked again, louder this time. One of the kids was whining about wanting to watch TV. She tried the doorknob, just turned it like she expected it to work. When it didn't, she let out this frustrated sound that I could hear through the walls. You're being ridiculous, she said loudly. You can't avoid family forever. She stayed for another 10 minutes, knocked intermittently, tried to get the kids to call out to me, which was a new low, even for her. Uncle Caleb. Lily's voice came through the door. Mommy says you're being mean. Why are you being mean? I put my headphones on and turned up the volume on my game. Eventually, I heard them leave. The next morning, I talked to my building manager, Frank. Nice guy, mid-50s. I explained the situation as simply as I could. My sister has been letting herself into my apartment using a key I gave her. I changed my locks, but she's still showing up and making scenes. I need to know what my options are. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and pulled up something on his computer. We can add her to the no-entry list, he said. Building policy allows residents to designate individuals who aren't permitted past the front desk. If she shows up, security won't let her through. If she refuses to leave, we call police. That's a thing? That's a thing. We've used it before. More common than you'd think. I gave him Marissa's name and a description. He printed out the documentation and had me sign it. She's flagged, he said. If she shows up, we'll handle it. I walked out of that office feeling like I could breathe for the first time in weeks. The first test came 4 days later. I was at work when I got a call from Frank. Your sister showed up about 20 minutes ago. Got pretty heated when we told her she wasn't allowed in. She's gone now, but I wanted to give you a heads up. Did she cause any problems? She yelled a lot, called me some names, demanded to know who authorized this. I told her it was building policy and she needed to leave. She eventually did, but she wasn't happy about it. Thanks for letting me know. Might want to expect some blowback. He wasn't wrong. My phone exploded that afternoon. Marissa first, with a string of texts that started angry and got worse from there. You banned me from your building? Are you serious right now? What is wrong with you? I'm your sister. I have every right to see you. Mom is going to hear about this. You're going to regret this. Then my mother called twice. I let it go to voicemail both times. Then Marissa again, this time with a voicemail that I listened to once and immediately saved for documentation purposes. Caleb, this is absolutely insane. I don't know what kind of mental breakdown you're having, but you need to get help. You can't just ban your own sister from your building. That's not normal. I'm coming back there tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to whoever's in charge and get this sorted out. You can't hide from me forever. I forwarded the voicemail to Leo with the caption, "This seems healthy and normal." His response? Want me to be there tomorrow? I can take a late lunch. That would actually be great. Chloe called that night. I filled her in on everything. She was quiet for a long moment when I finished. Caleb, she said carefully. I think you need to start documenting all of this. What do you mean? I mean, this is starting to look like harassment, and if it keeps escalating, you might need to involve the police. You think it'll get that bad? I think your sister doesn't handle being told no very well, and I think your mom is going to make everything worse. She wasn't wrong. I started a folder on my computer that night, dated everything, saved screenshots of every text, wrote down what happened with timestamps. The process felt like I was building a case against my own sister. Because I was. Around midnight, Chloe found me still at my desk, scrolling through months of text messages. You should sleep, she said. I'm almost done. She looked over my shoulder at the screen. The little digs, the guilt trips, the way every request was framed as an emergency. The way she never said thank you. That's too much, Chloe said quietly. I know. No, I mean, she paused. This has been going on for a long time. Yeah. I saved the folder and closed my laptop. It has. The next day, Marissa showed up at the building again. Leo and I watched from the lobby as she argued with the front desk security guard for 15 minutes. Leo had brought actual snacks. We stood by the elevators like we were watching a nature documentary. She's doing the crying thing, Leo observed. Solid opening move. First came the tears, claiming she was just worried about her brother and needed to make sure he was okay. The security guard remained completely unmoved. When the tears didn't work, she tried righteous anger, demanding to speak to a manager about this discrimination against family members. Her voice got louder. A couple of other residents walked through the lobby and carefully didn't make eye contact. Now she's losing it, Leo said, crunching on a chip. Here comes the anger. When Frank came out and calmly explained that I had specifically requested she be banned, she switched to threats. This is illegal, she said loudly enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. You can't just ban someone from a building because their brother is having some kind of breakdown. I'm going to call a lawyer. I'm going to report this building to whoever handles these things. Ma'am, Frank said calmly, your brother is a tenant in good standing. He has the right to determine who visits him. You're welcome to contact him through normal means, but you're not permitted inside this building. If you continue to refuse to leave, we'll be forced to call the police. She left, but not before looking directly at where Leo and I were standing by the elevators. This isn't over, she said. Leo waved. Drive safe. Don't forget the kids are in the car. She'd left all 3 kids waiting in the parking lot in November. Mother of the Year material. I'm pretty sure she was still screaming something as the doors closed behind her. The harassment continued for the next 3 weeks. Marissa showed up at my building 3 more times. Each time security turned her away. Each time she caused a scene. Frank was a saint about the whole thing, but even he was starting to look tired. She started calling my workplace. Got my direct office line somehow. My supervisor, Mike, who'd known me for 2 years, pulled me aside after the 3rd call. Caleb, is everything okay at home? Family drama. My sister's going through something. I'm sorry she's bothering you. I'm not bothered. I'm concerned. She told Sarah at reception that you were being held hostage by a cult and she needed to verify you were okay. She said what? Mike looked somewhere between amused and worried. She was pretty convincing apparently. Sarah almost called the police before she checked with me. Your sister described the cult in detail. Said they were brainwashing you. Asked for our building security codes. I'm so sorry. She's not well. I'm getting that. Look, I don't need to know the details, but is there anything we can do? HR has resources for this kind of thing. I'm handling it, but thank you. After that, I had them block her number from our phone system. She'd find another way. She always did. She started showing up at places I went, the coffee shop near my apartment, the grocery store I used, my gym, always with the kids in tow like they were shields, always acting surprised to see me, then trying to corner me into a conversation. At the grocery store, she blocked my cart in the cereal aisle while Sam knocked boxes off the shelves. At the coffee shop, she sat down at my table uninvited and started crying about how I was tearing the family apart. The barista asked if I needed help. I said yes. Marissa called her a rude word and stormed out, but not before knocking over my coffee. Leo started calling it the Marissa Tour. Everywhere I go, she finds me, I told him. It's like she put a tracker on my car or something. She probably just knows your routine. You're predictable. That's not comforting. Wasn't meant to be. You need to start varying your schedule. Make yourself harder to find. Or she could just leave me alone like a normal person. Leo laughed. Yeah, that's clearly going to happen. The gym incident was the worst. I was on the treadmill when I saw her walk in with all 3 kids. The gym didn't have childcare. Kids under 12 weren't even supposed to be there. The front desk person tried to stop her, but she just walked right past. She spotted me and made a beeline over. Sam was already touching equipment. Max looked embarrassed, which meant he understood this wasn't normal. Lily was playing a game on Marissa's phone and not paying attention to anything. Caleb, what a coincidence. Marissa, your kids can't be in here. I'm just trying to talk to you. You won't answer my calls. Because I don't want to talk to you. She grabbed my arm as I tried to walk past her, hard enough to leave marks. Her nails dug in. She pulled me closer. You don't get to just cut me off, she hissed. I could see something in her eyes that looked genuinely unhinged. I'm your sister. Mom is worried sick. The kids miss their uncle. You're destroying this family. I'm destroying this family? I jerked my arm back. You broke into my apartment. You let your kids trash my stuff. You showed up at my workplace. You've been stalking me for 3 weeks, and I'm the problem? People were starting to stare. A guy on the weight bench had stopped mid-rep. The gym manager was walking over, looking concerned. I pulled my arm free. Don't contact me again, Marissa. I mean it. Or what? Or I'm going to the police. For harassment. For stalking. For whatever else my lawyer thinks will stick. I didn't have a lawyer. But she didn't know that. The gym manager reached us. Everything okay here? No, I said. This woman isn't a member, and she brought 3 kids. I'd like her escorted out. Marissa's face went through about 6 different emotions in 3 seconds. Then went back to anger. This isn't over, she said as the manager guided her toward the door. That was the 3rd time she'd said that. It was starting to feel like a threat. Leo met me at my apartment that night. He'd brought his laptop and a folder of printouts. Okay, he said, spreading everything out on my coffee table. I did some research. In Kansas, you can get a protection from stalking order if someone is following, surveilling, or making unwanted contact with you in a way that causes fear or distress. I told him about the gym, added it to the folder. You've got dates, times, and documentation of repeated unwanted contact, multiple witnesses, a paper trail at your building. She grabbed you hard enough to leave marks. This is textbook harassment. She's my sister. That makes it worse, not better. Family members don't get a free pass to terrorize you. Chloe arrived an hour later. She looked at the spread on the coffee table and then at me. We're doing this? I think we have to. Good, she said, because she called my work today. What? She called the restaurant and told my manager that I was turning her brother against his family. Called me a home wrecker. Said I was manipulating you. Chloe worked at a farm-to-table place in Old Town, the kind of job where reputation mattered. Did your manager believe her? He's known me for 3 years. He told her to lose the number. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize for her. Just end this. The protection from stalking order was filed on a Tuesday morning. Leo came with me to the courthouse. He'd organized all the documentation into a neat folder with tabs and dates. The clerk looked at the packet and then at me. This is very thorough, she said. I have a detailed friend. The temporary order was granted immediately based on the documented pattern of harassment. The full hearing would be in 2 weeks, where a judge would decide whether to make it permanent. Marissa was served on Wednesday evening, according to the notification I got from the court. She called me 17 times that night. I let every single one go to voicemail. Each message was more unhinged than the last. She started with outrage. How dare you? This is a betrayal. You're choosing strangers over blood. Then came the crying, the pleading. I'm sorry, Caleb. I didn't mean for it to get this bad. I just wanted my brother back. Then back to anger. This is all that girlfriend of yours. She poisoned you against your family. You'll regret this. I saved all of them. My mother called the next morning. Caleb, I just heard about what you did to your sister. I didn't do anything to her. I protected myself from her harassment. Harassment? She was trying to have a relationship with you, and you responded by getting the courts involved. She showed up at my gym. She grabbed me hard enough to leave bruises. She called my girlfriend's workplace and tried to get her in trouble. She told my office I was in a cult. That's not trying to have a relationship. That's stalking. You're exaggerating. I have proof. The court agreed. Silence. When my mother spoke again, her voice was different. Harder. If you go through with this, you're not welcome in this family anymore. I waited for the guilt, the instinct to apologize and make everything right. It didn't come. Okay, I said. Okay? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Mom? That I'll drop the order so Marissa can keep harassing me and you can pretend everything is fine? Not happening. I'm done being the family punching bag so everyone else feels comfortable. That's very selfish of you. Yeah, I said. I know. I hung up. Chloe found me on the couch an hour later staring at nothing. She sat down next to me and didn't say anything for a while. Just let me process. How do you feel? She asked. I don't know. Empty, relieved, sad. All of it at once. That makes sense. You basically just lost your family. I don't know if I lost anything real. She leaned her head on my shoulder. For what it's worth, you're not alone. You've got me. You've got Leo. You've got people who actually care about you, not just what you can do for them. I know. The hearing was 2 weeks later. Marissa showed up with our mother for moral support. They sat on the opposite side of the room, and my mother kept giving me these looks that were supposed to make me feel guilty. They didn't work anymore. Marissa had dressed up for court. Nice blouse, hair done, like she was going to a job interview instead of a stalking hearing. She'd even left the kids at home, which was probably the smartest thing she'd done in months. She tried to approach me in the hallway beforehand, but her own lawyer pulled her back. Violating a temporary order before the permanent hearing? Bold strategy. Ma'am, the lawyer said loud enough for me to hear. You cannot talk to him. That's literally why we're here. I just want to apologize. You can't apologize either. Please sit down. Leo leaned over to me. Her lawyer looks exhausted. I bet she's been a handful. The proceeding was brief but thorough. The judge reviewed the documentation. Marissa's lawyer tried to paint it as a family misunderstanding. Siblings who'd grown apart, a sister who just wanted to reconnect. She emphasized that Marissa was a single mother under stress, that she'd never intended to cause fear. The judge was not impressed. She looked up at Marissa. This is not how people reconnect with family members. This is harassment. I'm granting the permanent protection from stalking order. You are to have no contact with the petitioner directly or through third parties. You are not to be within 500 feet of his residence, his workplace, or any location where you know him to be present. Violation of this order is a criminal offense. Marissa started crying. My mother was saying something to her lawyer about appeals. The judge moved on to the next case, and that was it. I walked out of that courthouse with Leo on one side and Chloe on the other. So, Leo said, that happened. That happened. How do you feel? I took a breath. The sun was out. It was a nice day. 60 degrees and clear, which was pretty good for mid-December. Free, I said. I feel free. Chloe squeezed my hand. Let's go get lunch. I'm starving, and you deserve a victory meal. Leo pulled out his phone. already on it. I made a reservation at that barbecue place you like. Figured we'd either be celebrating or eating our feelings. What if we'd lost? Then it would have been really good barbecue to eat our feelings with. We drove to the restaurant. Leo had gotten us a table near the back, away from the crowd. I ordered more food than I could reasonably eat. We ate until we couldn't move. Talked about everything except what had just happened, which was exactly what I needed. Leo caught me up on his dating life, which was a disaster as usual. Chloe told us about a customer at her restaurant who tried to pay with cryptocurrency. Normal conversation, normal life, the thing I'd been missing for months. At the end of the meal, Leo raised his glass of sweet tea. To Caleb, he said, for finally standing up for himself. And to Marissa for being the worst sister ever. May she step on Legos every day for the rest of her life. Chloe raised her glass, too. And may her car always have just enough gas to make her think she can make it, but not quite. I laughed. We clinked glasses and finished our drinks. The fallout from the hearing spread through the extended family within days. I got calls from aunts and uncles I hadn't spoken to in years. Some were supportive. An aunt on my dad's side told me Marissa had always been entitled. A cousin who'd escaped his own toxic family situation sent me a text that just said, "Proud of you, man." Most weren't supportive, though. Uncle Mark left a voicemail about how I'd broken my mother's heart. My grandmother called to tell me I was going to regret this decision for the rest of my life. I didn't respond. My mother made one more attempt, a long email about how I destroyed the family, how Marissa was devastated, how I'd chosen outsiders over blood. She included a timeline of everything she'd done for me growing up, like I was supposed to feel guilty for her parenting choices. She ended it with, "If your father were alive, he'd be ashamed of you." That one actually hurt. My dad died when I was 17. Using him against me was a new low, even for her. I read the email once, showed it to Chloe and Leo. Then I blocked her email address and moved on. 3 months later, I heard through a cousin that Marissa had lost her job. Apparently, she'd had a meltdown at work and gotten fired. She moved in with our mother. The two of them were probably talking about how terrible I was every single day. I didn't feel good about that. But I didn't feel responsible either. Her choices led her there, not mine. I did feel bad for the kids, though. They didn't ask for any of this. I hope someday when they're older, they reach out. I hope they understand that cutting off Marissa wasn't about them, but that's a bridge I'll cross when I get to it. As for me, I'm doing okay. My apartment is mine again. I come home to exactly what I left, which turns out to be one of life's most underrated pleasures. What kind of peace have you had to fight for in your own life?